Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and today we're going to talk to Larry from Larry's Comics about the DC Diamond divorce. It's getting a little messy. There's definitely some issues between the companies, and I know that in the past, Larry, you've been a little bit more positive, more what we would say pro Diamond. What are your thoughts about the?
I love Diamond. They've been great to me. I've been with them for 30 years. I built a business. I bought a home. I raised a family with them as my primary supplier. They've been great to me. But ultimately, this is about the fans. This morning, when I got my delicious Dunkin' Donuts coffee, I don't give a shit what warehouse the Dunkin' Donuts coffee ships from, as long as I have my delicious Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Fans don't care. You care what warehouse your Batman ships from? It's just for the end user. This really isn't a story.
It's Batman's crazy. So you have a little bit different relationship. So I know a lot of people will talk about damaged comics, product arriving in not good condition. Now you were able to work with Diamond, and they send like your own truck for you and some of the local.
And this is a case throughout the country. Diamond has set up drop points where you can save on freight if you have a truck pick up at their main, one of their main warehouses, and then truck out to a drop point where all the shops can go pick it up. You have the Diamond employee who loads the truck. You have the retailers that pull it off the truck. It doesn't go through the UPS or FedEx system where the boxes just get beat to shit. Also, I think that we're in an age now. Diamond's original terms used to be that they had to sell you the books in saleable condition. Now with CGC and all these third-party grading companies and all the stores that have popped up, I think people are hypersensitive with, what's a saleable book. I've seen, people are willing to go on social media and bash the shit out of Diamond and the Jeppy family for a tiny spine tick. These comic books are tiny tactile treasures. Every single one of them is not going to be a 9.8 grade. Does Diamond have incompetence? Absolutely. They got really big, really fast, maybe growing pains. But overall, 99% of the books that I've ordered from them for 30 years have been saleable. So if something was damaged, I would call it in. It would be disappointing, but they'd give me my money back. What more do you want?
Absolutely. So I know you've been talking about Diamond here on the channel, and you've been a supporter of theirs, but things have kind of taken a change. It felt like at first, like maybe this was kind of out of the blue, or they were kind of maybe sideswiped with the news. But now we're kind of figuring out that maybe this has been in the works for a little bit of while, and maybe Diamond was kind of positioning themselves.
There's stories trickling out now that maybe in the past Diamond had been given the opportunity to modernize, to upgrade their equipment, and they fought it at every turn. These are just stories now, but there has to be a reason why DC broke up with them.
Yeah, it seems like they were there had to be something going on behind the scenes when they decided that they weren't going to be going with Diamond. Because when you talk to your DC representative or your contacts at DC, they said that this new Lunar UCS arrangement was supposed to be temporary.
Yeah, I have a friend who's an editor at DC, and off the record, he told me he thought it was a temporary situation. So, is a DC editor have anything to do with distribution? Absolutely not. But he's somebody who's in the company who probably would know more than me. And in the past, I've heard great information from the guy, but he was just dead balls wrong about this.
Yeah, well, it also sounds like the owner of Lunar, when they were interviewed by Newsarama, they were playing it, maybe the cards close to the vest. They weren't exactly saying, this is permanent. They said, we believe this is temporary. We're going to have a wait and see how it goes kind of thing.
But the other thing I don't get is that the retailer animosity towards the DCBS and Midtown Comics. I mean, these guys are just nothing but retailers who have been selling comics at maybe a higher level than a lot of these retailers, and are they jealous of them? I mean, I've never met DCBS, but every single time that I've met anybody that had anything to do with Midtown, they've been nothing but class and just great, top of the industry type people. I mean, I've loved everybody that I've met there. I don't get there's it just in my area. Okay, we have one store who is on social media saying that he is considered, this is a store that's older than mine. It's older than 30 years old. He is considering not stocking DC Comics. This is somebody who represents hundreds of fans. He's considering, I don't know if this is just bravado, he's considering not carrying DC Comics. Another store, it's a big store with 2 locations in New England, is going subscription only on DC comic books. I mean, it's fucking mind-blowing to me. I just can't wrap my head around why that would be happening.
Well, there's a lot of
both of those shops are Comics Pro shops, all right? And one of the former, there's rumor now, another rumor circulating is that if Diamond Comics is not as solvent as they might be leading on, and that by losing DC Comics, losing maybe 1/3 of their line, that they're going to be in financial trouble, and that by DC leaving, this might actually bust Diamond, or they're going to have to scale back considerably. Now, the 2 stores that are saying this outlandish commentary that they're not carrying DC Comics or they're sub-only, they're Comics Pro shops. One of the founding members of Comics Pro, Chris Powell, is now a Diamond Comic executive. Brian Hibbs is a Comics Pro founder. Are all these guys taking this tact because they're rallying behind their buddy Chris Powell? They don't want him to lose his job in a scale back. I mean, I just don't understand the so comics come from in a different box from a different warehouse now. I mean, who cares?
So one of the things we have heard about Lunar and UCS is that the packaging is better. One of our viewers, Chris Barchek, he said he just signed up with Lunar yesterday. He's interested in seeing what the packaging is. I know that you have received packaging from Lunar. It's Lunar, correct?
No, I'm UCS. I'm the Midtown branch. They come in. Diamond boxes are the UCS version of the Diamond box is slightly smaller, so it's less weight. I mean, you can have a 55-pound double Diamond box, and when a UPS employee moves that on the truck, just the act of moving it, if they don't put it down exactly flat, it smashes a corner. Okay, and that translates to, you know what I mean, damaged books on the inside. What I've noticed about the UCS boxes is that they're lighter, and on the truck, you know what I mean, they're not going to get as damaged. Another problem that Diamond has had in the past is the pilfering of high ratio variants. You'll get your box and you'll be missing the 1 in 1,000 and the 1 in 500 variant. And then you'll call it in as a shortage, and you may or may not get it. But then I'd be talking to other people at the drop point. They'd all be missing their, ratio variants that week. And then they'd investigate a little bit, and it'd turn out to be somebody in the warehouse was pilfering it.
Like it was on eBay?
Yeah, it goes on eBay. Diamond hires people, they probably have a ton of minimum wage employees. And if they're on the job and they see, they can take a couple valuable comic books, I guess that makes working there worthwhile to, an unscrupulous fellow. But one thing that I like that UCS does is the inner boxes, they seal them with permanent tape, like almost that cloth tape on all sides. So like a manager could put your rare variant in a box, and then he could seal the box, and then he could turn his back, and not everybody's pilfering stuff. I liked that aspect too. Now, I'm for you, Midtown and you, Discount Comic Book Service. They're huge mail order accounts, but this week they're going to get 2,000 accounts all at once. I mean, I think they're going to have growing pains this week. I am concerned about the potential service problem that we're going to be having. Now, these guys ready to deal with this deluge that they're getting. Now, this week from UCS, I've been getting great service from them. This week, my books yesterday were due to arrive at my home on Saturday, and the tracking just went dead on them. That's a UPS problem, not a UCS problem, but my books right now are in limbo. So there's troubles at Diamond, there's troubles at UCS, there's troubles at Lunar. Everybody's going to learn that maybe distributor problems are universal.
So one of the things that we've seen is a lot of feedback from retailers, especially the big names that can be on Bleeding Cool, Newsarama, some of these websites where they do opinion pieces and things like that. They have been very negative about the idea of DC just leaving Diamond high and dry. I think Chuck Rosansky said that they took a knife to the back. Now, one of the theories that is being floated out there, I believe Diversity in Comics, I think it's Comics Matter with his boy Zach was saying that one of the reasons he thinks that so many retailers are upset is because how many of them actually owe Diamond money. And we do know that Diamond has floated people money, given them loans and things like that to get through the tough times, and that a lot of shops actually might owe them a ton of money. And that's one of the reasons that they don't want to go over to the new system.
I used to work in the restaurant industry, and suppliers would float restaurants if they were a month behind. I used to be in the paint business, and paint manufacturers will float accounts if they're a month behind. Retail business isn't consistent. And is it uncommon for a distributor to float one of their accounts, a month or two to pay them back? I mean, that happens in every single industry, Zach, you dope.
Yeah, but do you think that's one of the reasons there's all this outrage? Is there something else behind the scene that's going on that's causing these people?
I think all the Comics Pro guys are rallying behind their buddy Chris Powell because they don't want him to get shit canned because he's got a job at Diamond now. I don't understand. I don't understand I don't understand how it is so. I don't understand how it is so tragic to the industry that DC has left Diamond unless it's going to break Diamond. Then I understand it. They don't want Diamond to go belly up. I don't understand. I'm not privy to the numbers whether this is actually going to bust Diamond. If this breaks Diamond, if Diamond can no longer function as a company because they've just lost DC, it sucks.
Well, yeah, I would agree with that. There was another thing where, Perch had read a lot of the feedback and what I think it was Brian Hibbs was saying specifically, and it sounded to him like Hibbs was getting a better deal than some other retailers, and that's one of the reasons he was upset because he wouldn't quite be getting the same rates with the new company.
Well, Hibbs has always been a penny pincher. He'll complain about, like, retailers complain about the Marvel overships. Marvel overships, are they giving you free books? Who doesn't want free books? I mean, even if it's a shitty Iceman comic book, give me 50 free shitty Iceman comics. I can choose whether I put them in my 50-cent bins, give them to my customers, or sell them at full price. I love free stuff. Who doesn't like free stuff? Brian Hibbs doesn't like free stuff because you have to pay the freight on them for 1 week. Diamond gets an incredible DC rate where they pay 50 cents per pound. So if they give you 50 Iceman comics, you might be charged 50 cents for 1 week for 50 free $4 comic books, and then the next week you're going to get a 50-cent credit. It's a non-story that everybody just bashes and bashes and bashes. You know what I mean? Diamond and Marvel for. Overship means free shit. Who doesn't like free shit? I like free lunch. Buy me lunch. I want lunch.
Yeah, that's always one of those weird things. I know Perch said he calculated the amount of shipping that it cost him in 1 year for overships, and it was like $400 maybe.
Yeah, he gets credited the following week. Every single account gets credited the following week for freight. And Diamond's freight rate is pretty damn good. 50 cents per pound is what they pay. Diamond's freight rate is better than UCS's freight rate.
All right, Larry. So we have you on the channel here because you are Larry Unfiltered. You will say what you want to say. And that's why we like having you here. Now that we've had a few days to process this, you've seen the message boards. I'm sure you've seen the articles that are out there. Good move by DC. Are you pissed off about it? Can you see both sides of it?
Honestly see, I can see both sides of it. I don't. What's confusing me? I don't see the outrage. I don't see how these shops are flipping out. You're shipping. Last week, these were all the same people who were bashing Diamond because they're a monopoly. Monopolies are bad for the industry. We need competition. Well, now you got competition, what's the problem? I mean, until these people fail, until Midtown and DCBS fail us, I mean, give them a shot. Now you have two primary suppliers, and in theory, now they're going to compete against each other, to try to give better service. So maybe it's good for us. It's ultimately good for the fan. But for the fans, it's a non-story. My phone has blown up over the past 4 days. People, somehow think that there's going to be a loss of service with their DC books, and it's just not the case. Who cares which warehouse the delicious Dunkin' Donuts comes from? As long as you get your Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Well, that is kind of the case,
because there are retailers that have said, you know what? I'm not going to be on board with this DC plan. We won't have DC Comics, or somewhere only going to have to.
You're going to give Wes. Give me 1/3 of your money right now. Come on, give me.
I don't want to give you 1/3 of my money.
Who the fuck wants to give away 1/3 of their money? No store.
Especially when DC is the only publisher that has anything exciting for the next 2 months.
1/3 of every store's new comic sales are DC comic books. They're not giving that away. They're just putting on a unified front, a Comics Pro front. The message is, we're not carrying Batman comics anymore. Okay.
Yeah, the best-selling ongoing series. Like I said, Dark Knight's Death Metal's coming up, Joker Wars coming up. Those are going to be high interest, high selling.
This week, Batman 92.
Yes,
Batman 92. James Tynion, Punchline. It's one of the most anticipated books of the year comes in this week. Yeah, don't carry that, fellas. Stand by your principles.
It's from Diamond this week, so they can still do it.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it does seem like the reaction has been, very.
Maybe I don't see it. Now I get Brian Hibbs. Brian Hibbs, I've heard, has his own point of sale system that he wrote with his brainiac brain. I could see him looking at everybody's software and it wasn't up to his standards, so he created his own system. Now it's going to suck for him because he has to type in all the new information. Brian, holy shit, extra work. For retailers who use POS systems, I mean, it's a pain in the ass, but I'm sure it's a pain in the ass that's going to resolve.
So in my mind, I think this is a good thing. I think competition is good. I do think DC could have been more forthright and probably given retailers more of a heads up.
Now, I did notice yesterday on Facebook, I saw former DC Entertainment President Diane Nelson commenting on this whole situation. And one of the things that she said, Diane Nelson, the former president of DC Entertainment, said she was horrified with the communication from DC. DC has been speaking in tongues, in riddles. They're basic press releases that come out on Friday. What ambo's going to drop on my head? It's Friday. They come out with they come out with just the most horrible communication. You can read their press releases 3 times and you could take it this way or that way. I mean, they have horrific communication problems. They have a Facebook group for retailers that they don't even communicate with retailers in their Facebook group. And now it's just a platform for people to commiserate. I mean, they don't like to come into the filthy masses and actually talk to us.
Yeah,
horrible communicators. And Diamond ain't much better. For this whole pandemic, I mean, the big three, Marvel, DC, and Diamond, they should all be ashamed of themselves. If any of them ultimately lose businesses or jobs, it's a result of how they behaved during this pandemic. They were horrible partners, horrible communicators. They made they made this entire situation that much more stressful by just dancing around the issues instead of just, straight speak to their retail partners. They just left us all hanging. Every single one of them.
Yeah. Marvel, even to this day, you still don't really know a whole lot that's going on. It's definitely absolutely insane. But
they must be loving this retailer backlash on DC. They must be just sitting back, just cracking up. Because the crazy thing is, from the shops, there's legitimate DC hate. It makes me love DC more.
What's crazy is Marvel kind of may have helped enable DC by sitting out, by coming back with nothing interesting when the comic shops came back online after the pandemic, by waiting until August.
They have nothing coming. They have nothing.
DC had all the stroke, and they could do something like this, and there's nothing anyone could do about it.
Yep, it's poised to be the summer of DC. They have everything in the world coming out, and Marvel really doesn't have anything. Nothing.
They don't. Yeah. So DC had all the power right now. The ability. If there was ever a time where DC could, you know what, I want a clean break from Diamond. We need to be able to coerce all the shops that have to sign up for these new distribution systems. This was the only time I can think of where they could absolutely do it. Because Marvel just decided to sit out.
When I first opened up, I had a Marvel account, I had a Diamond account, a Capital City account, and a Heroes World account. So, what business only has one supplier? I mean,
it's called a single point of failure.
It's part of running a store. You gotta have multiple suppliers. So,
yeah, absolutely. You don't want to be dangling in the wind.
But I will say that the industry, I think, has a bit of a problem with the transparency of the behind the scenes of the comic book industry. Like this week, this Diamond DC break is kind of a nuts and bolts thing that has zero impact on the end user, the fan. But my customers were so concerned because they're reading about all these behind the scene things, and Rich Johnson will fucking run that Diamond ran a omnibus sale, and all these outlets now are making everybody privy to just all the minutia that really doesn't matter. I mean, ultimately, again, if you want a delicious Dunkin' Donuts coffee, who gives a shit what warehouse it comes from?
I just want a bratwurst, sir. I do not want to know where it came from.
Exactly. Give me that sandwich.
All right, Larry, are you open tomorrow? Sort of.
I am not open tomorrow, but I am going to be open Wednesday, friend.
Perfect.
It's exciting.
So you aren't New Comics Tuesday yet. You haven't fallen in line with DC's new program there yet?
I have a certain amount of subscribers who want their DC Comics on Tuesday, and they get them on Tuesday. I'll bring them to them, or I'll ship them so they have them for Tuesday. But I'm going to be Wednesday until I get my regular 7-day-a-week retail location open. I'm going to do Wednesdays and Saturdays.
So how are you feeling right now? We're about to wrap up this conversation. How are you feeling about the industry? Are you more excited about competition? Do you think these are the death rattles of DC Comics as they're about to go under?
I dare all the comics pro shops in New England to not carry DC Comics like they're boasting right now. Go ahead.
Be good for you.
Go ahead, do it. Pull the trigger. Be good for the bulk of the other stores who are not comics pro shops. It'll be great for us. So play the game.
Batman's the most
Do
popular
it.
character in comics.
Take down all the posters. Take down those beautiful signs from your windows.
Yeah.
Do it.
Stop carrying all those wonderful DC trades that everyone buys, no matter what, like Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns and all that.
Keep the Gotham highs, Ricky boy. Keep the Gotham highs.
Absolutely, you got to have Gotham High. And is it Wonder Woman? What was the one that came out this week where Steve Trevor? I don't remember. It sounded awful, but it's a YA graphic novel. I could care less.
It's Steve and Trevor.
Yes, something like that.
Steve and Trevor.
Yeah, something like that.
That was really clever.
But all right, well, this was a special no notice a stream here on Thinking Critical YouTube. Really appreciate everyone.
Batman 92 this week, everybody. Batman 92. I don't know what box it's going to come in. I don't know what warehouse it's coming from, but Batman 92 shipping. That's a good thing.
Absolutely. And I want to say thank you to everyone who showed up. Really appreciate it. And there's some super chats. Sorry, I didn't quite get an announcement like I would in a normal stream, but we did want to get this one done in about 25 minutes or less. And we basically took care of that. Thank you to everyone. Thank you very much, Larry. I really appreciate the time.
Thank you. I hope you keep your job, Chris. Bye.